And this is what people say. This is what men say. And I was like, okay, amazing. I want that too. Then what? What are you gonna do when you have all of that? No one can answer that, almost. Who are you here to be? What are you here to really do? What is your legacy? What is your epic saga? Many men today have no clue about this. Congratulations. You are together with about 99% of men displaying the same type of dreams as everybody else. All right, brothers, we're coming to the end of the retreats, or moving towards the end. And we're going to talk about something else now. And I'd like you to first follow with me and raise your hands if you can agree. First of all, who here would like to feel a sense of meaning and purpose in what you do, yeah?
Every day.
Meaning and purpose. Amazing. Who would like to feel financial freedom? Can be many different things, can be massive amounts, can just be to not be stressed about money. Awesome. Who would love to feel deep intimacy and love with a partner, and also here with your family? Amazing. Who would like to feel strong, healthy, powerful, alive? And who would like to feel surrounded by people who are inspiring, who support you? Yeah? Congratulations. You are together with about 99% of men displaying the same type of dreams as everybody else. And like Daniel just referred to earlier, this is something we're seeing all the time. So I've met a lot of people throughout my, and a lot of men throughout my years now with Seol. And we always ask in the same way, and you might already remember that from when we met the first time. Where are you at and where do you want to go? Yeah? Where are you at and what are your dreams? And this is what people say. This is what men say. Financial freedom, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, amazing. I want that too. Then what? Yeah? Then what? What are you going to do when you have all of that? And I can see the whole system of the man. It's like, no one can answer that, almost. Service, indeed, yeah. But in reality, there's more, right? Ultimately, here I ask them, what is your real dream? Yeah. Who are you here to be? What are you here to really do? What is your legacy? What is the grand vision? What's your vision for the next 50 years? What are the gifts you're going to bring to the world, looking back at your life? What is your 500-year visions, your 1,000-year vision for humanity? Yeah? What is your epic saga? Many men today have no clue about this, and that is a problem. So we set these goals that we talked about, and we call them not dreams, but infrastructure. It's baseline, yeah? What you're really saying is, I want my life to fucking function. To have all of that we mentioned in the beginning should just be standard. And the fact that we don't have that points to that we live dysfunctional lives. And we have come to accept that as standard. And there's a danger in putting your goals to that, because if you put those as your goals, that's what you're going to be aiming for. What we're trying to bring out here is this, the moonshots, the bigger vision. Putting that somewhere there into the future will most likely cover all of these infrastructure goals, because you need those to be able to get to there. Question is, what happened to our ability to dream? Where did it go? What do you see here? Anyone?
Kids, furniture.
Furniture,
Toys.
toys, exactly. Very logical answers is what you see, yeah? Furniture, toys. What does a child see?
Oh.
Yeah, it's the castle. You remember when we were small, playing? Could play for ages. A little mound or some kind of suitcase could become a whole world for us. Play for ages with ourselves, with our friends. It's how we lived. Now, there's different reasons for this also. Looking at brain waves of children, it is much more in the theta space, day to day, meaning easier access to the dream world. As we grow up, there's a maturing process happening to the brain as well, where we leave that. So we're not supposed to be like all of the time seeing castles and dragons and all of it. Yet the disruption and the removal is quite harsh in the society that we live. So harsh that many of us forget completely how to dream. And it begins with this language from our parents often. Oh, it's only your imagination. I remember coming to my parents one day and I told them I saw a man sitting in my room. There's someone in my room sitting there. And I remember it. And they just said, well, don't worry, it's only in your imagination. It's a standard way of comforting, explaining something unexplainable. Why does a child see another man in the room? Because he has access to something else. It's only in your imagination is the first step, which then continues into the system that we live in, which in many ways are trying to suggest that we are not so special. We are formed into the box and we have a freedom to choose, but the freedom is already defined. So it's a freedom within a cage. Yeah? Choose your path, become an engineer, become a business guy, a lawyer, doctor, blah, 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 blah. Follow these set schemes. And nowhere are we told to really find who we are. We're not told to understand our unique essence, our unique gifts, our powers, ultimately culminating into a story, a truth, which is your existence isn't that important. Yeah? You're important, not so important. And that's how we live. And then fast forward to the adult life, this epic saga, this epic saga of life is translated into the grind, the work, the idea of success, a man in a suit, overworked, tired. We have our addictions being poured in, so social media, substance. We are here lost in this void, and that's where humanity is right now. And the humanity, and the saga of humanity feels a bit like this, right? It's like, who is really living our lives? Are we the one in charge? Or what's really going on here? Who could relate to this feeling? Can you understand what I'm talking about here? Freedom in a sort of set way. So how do we start to work with this? How do we bring this back? How can I reclaim my imagination again? How do I re-find this? And it starts with reconnecting with the mystery of life, the mysticism that we all can sense. We've all had different experiences. Think about someone you haven't thought about in 3 years and that person then calls you, just like out of nowhere. Called synchronicities, I call you. How can we work with that? And really working with this mystery is the way back in. And the easiest way to really get in touch with the mystery is through storytelling, through the story. Yeah? What is the ultimate story? What is the ultimate story that we love to listen to? Hero. Yeah, the story about love. Well, the hero's journey is one of the origin stories. Yeah? And the hero's journey was identified by Joseph Campbell as, because he went and studied like way back into our way of talking, and the hero's journey is what he distilled, where he distilled it into 17 steps that it follows, which was later down the line distilled into 12 steps. And I'm now going to show you a shorter version here. But the hero's journey talks about a person who is in the ordinary world, just living his life, and then he receives the call to adventure. Call to adventure can be a crisis happening, a divorce, illness, or some actual call to adventure, someone asking for help. And there's a time and space for resistance. Don't want to go into this adventure. You don't want to enter. And then you'll meet a guide, a person that helps you to take that step. Guide is usually step 4. Now it's compromised. Here it just says allies and mentors. But the guide will then teach you and give you the final step or the courage for you to step into it. And then you go on this journey. And in the journey, you have your allies and you go through your tribulations and your trials. And at some point, you're going to face the inner ordeal where you really meet the core of what you've been avoiding all the time. It's your core demon, and there you'll be met with a choice to either go for it or fall to this part of yourself. And if you choose to go for it, you'll have a deep transformation happening. You'll receive a gift, and that gift is what you bring back to the world again. And then you're there again in the ordinary world with your newfound skills, and then you're gonna have another call to adventure. And this is how the life is evolving. Now, the hero's journey is also what is being portrayed in many of the movies that we really love watching. Obviously, Lord of the Rings is a complete deep dive into mysticism. Avatar, Lion King, and we love these stories. Why? Why do we love the story? Because what if it's just not in the movies? Yeah, What if they are actually about you? What if you are the hero? What if the journey you're on in life is exactly that, over and over again? The journey you're in right now, the Seol journey. Can you see many of the steps there? Calling for adventure, some resistance, possibly. Should I join? Should I not join? I don't feel like it. Meeting a guide, maybe meeting me or Daniel. Say, hey, going in, having your mentors and allies, facing your trials and tribulations, and you're carving out the essence of who you are. Such is the promise of Seol, for every man to walk in and discover who he truly is, discover what he's here to do, and then take massive action towards that, together with a group of men who will support. And that Seol is just one hero's journey. Yeah? You're going to have many of them over and over again. So when we begin to believe that this is life, we will help to weave the new collective story of humanity, which is no longer about the hustle and the grind and the tiredness and the addictions and all that stuff, but is actually a massive journey constantly being played out. It's light and dark. It's the expansive experience of humankind. We're all playing this part. We're all weaving this story together. So you might be a skeptic here. You might think, is this true? Is this fantasy or is it true? What is truth? The better question to ask, which we always try to ask here as well in Seol, is it useful? Is it useful? What's more useful for you? To imagine yourself as the hero in the story, or to imagine yourself as not so important? So what is your role to play in the saga? What's going to be your part? The question is, where do you begin? How do I find my role? With no compass, no prior education, no system, no understanding. Well, such is the process of getting to know yourself. Yeah? Knowing yourself. You're part of that process right now through Seol. And we've looked at it specifically, of course, in the purpose and mission. If you remember, the purpose, who am I here to be? The mission is, what am I here to do? My archetypes, meaning what's the synthesis of my raw talents leading up to the innate archetype? And what's the synthesis of my learned abilities leading into the developed archetype? So we have the framework, and I know you all get this, but do you truly know who you are yet, though? It's not as easy as just looking at a framework. And that's what I said, even though it's a 1 week thing in Pillar 1, the whole Seol journey is going to be about this, over and over again. About figuring out who you really are. And you can't do that through your mind or through a system like that. That's why you have your brothers. They say a man cannot complete himself in isolation. He becomes himself through the brotherhood that sharpens him. Alexander Bard said, if you really want to get to know yourself, you need to spend 2 years in close circle with other men. And in that circle, you meet often and you share everything about yourself. Your wounds, your fears, your dreams, your longings, who you are, you show yourself. And after that, those 2 years, you walk up to each and every one of those men and you ask them, who am I? And they will tell you. They will tell you who you are. So you understand what it is that we're creating here? Find your alliance. Find the men that know you, that care about you, and that has the balls to actually challenge you as well. To say, this is not your highest path, man. Are you sure this is the best thing for you right now? Find your group. Male technology. A male container, and this is something we always see as well. Like Daniel said before, when we look at the Seol map, and most men score very low on mentors and allies. Yet when we talk about what are your goals, what do you prioritize, very few talk about this. So there's such a huge blind spots here, where men don't understand how big of a technology it is to be surrounded by men. A lot of people talk about brotherhood and think it's some kind of cozy, let's just be brotherly together and have like a good hangout. And that's nice, but the smart men understand that this is just tech. This is strategy. Surrounding myself with high caliber men who in different ways support, strengthen me is essential, absolutely essential. So I want to leave you here with this. You matter. I know you know from a adult perspective, but deep down, there's so many truths inside of you and stories that tell you you don't. You truly matter. Yeah. Go on and live your epic saga. Live your personal legend. Your adventure awaits. So either go with your brothers, and this is how you see the world, or shift into that. Amazing. Thank you for your time and attention.
All right.